Chapter 1. The Lambton Worm. Goatshead Castle is a strange place, full of strange people and even stranger beasts. If you ever get a chance to visit the place, then don't. It will only end in tears. Once the home to one of the most evil witches who ever lived, until they burnt her. But you should already know this unless you've skipped the introduction. If so, then go back and listen to it at once. Oh, but I digress. As I said, Goatshead Castle is a strange place, full of strange people and even stranger beasts. This is the tale of one of those beasts, the Lambton Worm Jr., to be more precise. The Lambton Worm Sr. was a fearful beast, with great big teeth and a great big mouth and great big googly eyes. Legend has it that he was born on an Easter Sunday morn, while young John Lambton, who should have been at church, was fishing in the River Wear. He caught no fish that day, only a strange-looking worm, which he threw down a well. But over time, the worm grew and grew. Eventually climbing out of the well, it set about terrorizing the villagers of both Washington and Goatshead Village. Eating sheep, drinking all the milk from the cows in the fields, and stealing away children from their beds at night as they slept. Many brave knights tried to slay this frightful monster, but they all perished within its scaly coils, until eventually there were no more knights left, only Sir John Lambton, who had originally caught the worm. He had been away from England fighting in the holy wars of the Far East. But when word of this terrible beast reached his ears, he returned home immediately, trying to right the mistake of his past. Legends claim that Sir John was a brave knight, but legends can be misleading. The fact is, every time he tried to face this evil worm, he ended up running away and hiding in his woodshed. Eventually, he summoned up enough courage to go and ask for help from a local witch. And you guessed it, Samantha v. Hutton, who was probably more evil than the worm itself, but not quite as ugly. Samantha told Sir John that she would help him defeat the worm, but for a price. After defeating the worm, Sir John had to agree to kill the first living thing he saw upon returning home. Sir John agreed, and Samantha conjured up a suit of armour with razor-sharp spikes on the shoulders, elbows and knees. She then told Sir John that he must fight the beast in the River Wear. Again, he agreed, and set off in search of the hideous worm. As luck would have it, he found the creature basking in the River Wear after just swallowing down 3 young lambs. Oh, it was a savage battle, which resulted in Sir John being left battered and helpless on the banks of the river. His horse had been eaten by the worm, who then turned his attention to the young lord, laying motionless on the muddy wet soil. The beast lunged towards Sir John, tossing the young knight in the air and catching him in his thick scaly coils. As the worm tightened his grip, the razor-sharp spikes ripped through the worm's flesh, cutting the beast into 3 parts, which washed away down the River Wear. The beast was finally slain. However, a small portion of the worm's tail survived. It wasn't as big or as fearsome as the original worm. In fact, it was a bit of a wimp, and spent centuries living under a bridge which crossed the River Wear, until that fateful night when Samantha was resurrected from limbo, when he began plotting his revenge.
Wish lads had your gobs, I'll tell you all an awful story. Wish lads had your gobs, I'll tell you but the one. One Sunday morning, Lambton went fishing in the weir, and catched a fish upon his hook he thought looked very queer. But one kind of fish it was, young Lambton couldn't tell. It went fast to carry him, so he hid it in a well. Wish calves and lambs and sheep, and swally little birds alive when they lay down to sleep. And when he'd eaten all he could, and he had had his fill, he crawled away and left his tail 10 times round Pencher Hill. Wish, lads,